Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. I heard this on Sky News yesterday, and I thought, wow, I never thought I'd hear that, but it was them talking about false flag operations. You know, usually when you hear people talking about false flag operations, it's to do with, you know, people on YouTube talking about terrorist events that they believe are false flag and, you know, crisis actors and etc. And when that said, they're called conspiracists and crazy and cranks and all those kinds of things. And it's interesting when it is just, say, a normal person saying it on YouTube, we have that perception of people, and maybe that's part of the problem why we don't believe people, why we don't trust people, because if they're not wearing a suit, if they don't have a job title that's sufficient enough, we then think that we can't believe what they say, or if they don't have credibility from the mouth. Everyone's exactly the same. Everyone has the same potential of lying and being mistrustful, etc. So it was interesting when a Sky News person talked about false flags. Of course, they weren't talking about America or the UK. They would never talk about that. We would never do such a thing. UK and US don't do false flag operations. No, never. But because they're talking about Russia, because they don't ever talk about Russia, China, or the Middle East in these terms. But I was surprised that they're talking and they admit these things happen. So are they? So they are. So it is that is an acknowledgement that these types of things could happen. It's not just some crazy conspiracy theorist that's come up with something sci-fi. This is something now. So it's interesting that they actually mentioned that. I'll play you the clip so you can hear it for yourself. But it just amazes me that when they say it, you know, that it's only about Russia or China, it's never about UK, US, why they don't treat them in the same way. This is another thing about this discrimination, how the West, how the multimedia, they will treat the white hats and the black hats differently. You know, the Americans in the UK, they can't do anything wrong. They never say anything bad about them. They won't talk about them in the same way, even though they may do the same things. And this all started with, well, it was interesting, Sky News said about the 2 RAF jets were scrambled for an unidentified object, which when you look at it like that, it sounded like they were talking about UFOs, almost like they were starting a false flag, you know, preparing us for this idea of, you know, like a lot of conspiracists or people on YouTube or truthers, whatever you want to call them, are talking about this idea that's what the UFO thing was made up for in 1946. It was made up in a long-term plan to one day make us fearful of alien invasion, etc., so they can get more freedoms away from us. I don't know, it sounds crazy when I say it, but if you hear it on Sky News tomorrow, you'll be saying, oh yeah, I always believed in aliens. How stupid we are as human beings, that we only trust things when we see it on TV or in a newspaper, but not when someone else says it, as if there's any difference. We're all human beings. Anyway, here's the thing.
For a second day, RAF Typhoon aircraft have been scrambled after planes approached what's been described as the UK's area of interest. Yesterday, 4 Russian military aircraft approached the UK, leading to a response from the RAF. Russian authorities have released footage from the cockpit of one of their planes, something which the Foreign Secretary Liz Truss has called propaganda and clear and shocking evidence of aggression and underhand activity to destabilise Ukraine. Tonight, Britain and the United States have accused Russia of planning to stage a fake attack to justify an invasion. Sky Security and Defence correspondent Deborah Haynes has more.
Caught on camera, a British fighter jet tracking a Russian bomber close to UK airspace. The first of 2 RAF scrambles in as many days. A starring role for the Russian pilot too. This footage rather unusually released by Russia's defence ministry. State propaganda from the Cold War playbook, yet it was filmed this week as the Kremlin is locked in an increasingly heated contest with Western allies over Ukraine. Signalling strength from the ground as well. Russian troops training in Belarus close to Ukraine's border. Information and images like these used as a weapon of influence under the threshold of war. It's a tactic deployed by both sides. In fact, Ukraine's Deputy Defence Minister said warnings by allies like the US and the UK about the threat of a new Russian invasion of her country was messing with Moscow's plans.
Важливо розуміти, що коли ми та наші західні партнери оголошуємо ймовірну дату загострення. Таким чином ми руйнуємо плани Російської Федерації. І ті дати, які озвучуються, це зазвичай зруйновані плани. Їх боятися не треба, але треба розуміти, що загроза все одно існує.
In the latest expose, the US claimed Russia is planning to frame Ukrainian forces in a staged attack against a Russian target. The UK also has high confidence Moscow is hatching such a plot.
As part of this fake attack, we believe that Russia would produce a very graphic propaganda video, which would include corpses and actors that would be depicting mourners and images of destroyed locations.
Yet more evidence that information and physical weapons are permanently combined in this complex battle space. Deborah Haim, Sky News, Kiev.
There you go, the last verse, I think it was John Kirby, is the US press secretary. So, there you go. An admittance that governments, in their pursuits of things, can stage false flag, including crisis actors. This doesn't come from Donald Trump's administration, it's coming from Joe Biden's administration. So it's not like we can just say it's rubbish. So if you think Russia are doing it, you don't think America have done this. Because that's what people have been saying about certain terrorist events for years. But people laughed at it of like, how could you have actors, crisis actors, how could you stage something, how could you fake something? Well, there you go. Take care, easy, God bless and peace.